Hey everybody, welcome to Divine Thursday for February 4th, 2021. I'm your host, DM Gallibond. Alright, today on Divine Thursday we are going to look at a spell that is in 5e. It is the baby version of an entire class of spells, but we are going to look back through history and see how this was inspired by a spell that goes all the way back to the beginning of the game and still exists in a different form, but is a much more powerful spell. Um, and so we'll see how this is one example of how a spell that started in one form has eventually been split into different forms as it has gone forward through the various editions of the game. Alright, so let's go and take a look at Infestation. Alright, the Infestation spell is a spell that harkens all the way back to the original D&D spell, Insect Plague. Now, Insect Plague was a 5th level cleric spell with a range of 480 feet and a duration of a full day. Okay, this thing lasts an entire day, and it creates a swarm of insects up to a 30-foot radius. So that's a 60-foot diameter swarm of insects. Obscures vision and drives off creatures of less than 3 hit dice. No saving throw allowed. Swarm moves up 20 feet per round as directed by the cleric while it's within range. Caster must concentrate without moving to control the swarm. So that was the kicker there. Yeah, it'll last a day, but to control it, you gotta stand still. You can't move. If the caster is disturbed, the insects scatter and the spell ends. The spell only works outdoors and above ground. Okay, so sounds impressive. Sounds like it's large, large effect. But if you read it, all it does is it drives off creatures of 3 hit dice or less. So it's not going to do anything against a larger enemy or a more powerful enemy. All right. So now let's look and see how the fifth level cleric spell Insect Plague worked in AD&D or First Edition. Range is 360 feet, 360 yards, 60 foot high cloud, duration 1 turn per level. And when a spell is cast by a cleric, a horde of creeping, hopping, and flying insects swarm in a thick cloud. These insects obscure vision, and creatures within the insect plague sustain 1 hit point of damage for each melee round they remain in it due to the bites and stings of the insects, regardless of their armor class. And then all creatures of less than 5 hit dice have to check morale, and creatures with 2 or fewer hit dice will automatically move their fastest possible speed in a straight line in random direction until they are no less than 240 yards distance from the cloud of insects. And then heavy smoke will drive off the insects. Fire will also drive the insects away, while a fire in a ring shape will keep the insect plague outside its confines, and a fireball will simply clear insects from its blast area for 1 turn. Lightning and cold will act likewise. Plague lasts for 1 turn for each level of experience of the cleric casting the spell. Thereafter, the spells disperse. Insects swarm in an area which centers around a summoning point determined by the spellcaster, which point can be up to 360 yards distant from the cleric. Does not move thereafter for as long as it lasts. So now in this case, you summon it and it will last a long time. You don't need to concentrate on it, but you can't move it. And it will affect any creature that's in it, and cause them to have to run away, or get out of the area if they don't want to suffer uh, that hit point damage by staying in it for round after round after round. Now, in second edition, Insect Plague was again a fifth level spell. 120 yards, duration 2 rounds per level, area of effect 180 feet by a 60-foot cloud, and it takes 1 turn to cast. So it takes 10 full minutes to cast this spell. Horde of Creeping, very similar. Heavy Smoke, and then with the exception of the duration and the distance, it's almost exactly like the first edition version of the spell. Then in third edition, Insect Plague, Cleric and Druid, 5th round, range 400 feet plus 40 feet per level, long range, one swarm of locusts for every 3 levels of experience, each of which must be adjacent to another swarm, and the duration is 1 minute per level. Number of swarms of locusts, 1 per 3 levels, to a maximum of 6 swarms at 18th level. Swarms must be summoned so that each one is adjacent to at least one of the swarm. That is, they fill a contiguous area. Summon the locust swarms so they share the area with other creatures. Each swarm attacks any creature's occupying area. Stationary after being summoned and won't pursue if creatures flee. So then what this does is this actually uses the monster manual Swarm of Locusts feature. So you'd have to go and look that up for the 3rd edition Swarm of Locusts to see what the actual damage is, because it doesn't give that to you in the spell. Alright, now, Insect Plague still exists in 5th edition, but our focus today is on Infestation. So Infestation is kind of the baby version of Insect Swarm. It's a cantrip. Takes an action to cast. 30-foot range. Verbal somatic material components. It's instantaneous. Conjuration, and it requires a con save, and it deals poison damage. So you cause a cloud of mites, fleas, and other parasites to appear momentarily on one creature you can see within range. Target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw, or it takes 1d6 poison damage and moves 5 feet in a random direction if it can move, and if its speed is at least 5 feet. So it's a d4 direction where it's just cardinal, north, south, east, or west. Movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks, and direction is rolled as blocked. The target doesn't move. And then, like all cantrips, the damage just automatically increases as you get higher and higher in level. So now we have different flavors of the Insect Plague in 5th edition. We can now take this baby one, and I think there's actually one that's sort of in the middle, like a 2nd or 3rd level version that does a little less than what Insect Plague does. And then Insect Plague is pretty big bad spell in this edition of the game. All right, everyone. That's going to do it for our history of the Infestation, what it is, where it came from, how it's related to other spells in the game. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, click the post notification bell so that you too can get notified every time new content drops on the channel. And look in the description so you can see how you can follow all the live streams and where you can follow me on social media. Thank you so much for dropping by. Hope we will see you again here on the channel. Tell your friends about all of the D&D stuff that we have going on here and send them our way as well. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Good night, everybody.